Welcome inside the Alico Arena in Fort Myers, Florida, where tonight two of the hottest teams in the Atlantic Sun meet as the North Florida Ospreys take on the Florida Gulf Coast Eagles in the A-Sun Game of the Week. And good evening. I'm Matt Stewart, joined by legendary coach Sonny Smith, and welcome to another season of Atlantic Sun basketball on CSS. And Sonny, not only are these two of the hottest teams, they're very similar in their style, and they're very similar in the way their seasons have unfolded. For North Florida, they've won 5 of their last 6 since opening the season 1-7, and for Florida Gulf Coast, they've won 5 of their last 7 since starting the season 0-6.
Yeah, North Florida with a new coach, Matt Driscoll. Great enthusiasm for the game. Tremendous recruiter. It's infectious the way he goes about things. They've caught on to it. They're now winning games, and there's a lot of enthusiasm in that program. And as far as Florida Gulf Coast is concerned, they have got 10 or 11 players that they can play at one time. They really get after you, full court pressure. They're doing some things that now has made them get big wins over DePaul and over Belmont. So they're ready to go.
North Florida led by their point guard, Brad Hagebrook. He has been hot lately. He has averaged 18 points and 6 assists his last 2 games.
Well, he got off to a slow start. He had to get used to the players. They had to get used to him. Now he's the leader of the ball club. He's the guy that they look to when things are down, and he can bring them back. What a great player he's become.
His counterpart on the Eagles side is their point guard, Reggie Chambers, 2-time A-Sun Player of the Week.
Well, this guy's an up-tempo player. He's a press breaker. He loves to run with the basketball. He also can knock down a 3. He's the kind of guy that makes this team go with their style that they like best.
Florida Gulf Coast and North Florida tip off our A-Sun season here on CSS. It's coming up next, the 8th all-time meeting between these two teams, with the Eagles leading the series 6-1. But also he's No, I mean, it's been out for a while.
He came on one time for just seconds.
Fans, Fgcu in the Atlantic Sun Conference promote good sportsmanship by student athletes, coaches, and spectators.
And back at the Alico Arena in Fort Myers, Florida, getting ready to tip off North Florida, the Ospreys, against the Florida Gulf Coast Eagles. Ospreys led by first-year head coach Matthew Driscoll. Spent the last 6 seasons at the side of Scott Drew as the top assistant at Baylor, after originally joining Drew before he left Valpo and took the job at Baylor. He's done a great job there. They've only had 3 winning seasons out of 17 years of basketball, and he's trying to reverse that this season. They're off to a great start at 6-8. They are 1-3 in the Atlantic Sun. Here's a look at their starting lineup. Brad Hagebrook, who we've already told you about, Jerron Granberry, Stan Janeska. Andy Diaz is their leading scorer at 9.7 points per game, and Matt Sowie plays in the middle. Florida Gulf Coast led by head coach Dave Balza since 2003. It's his 8th season, 140-88. His overall record, 15-24 in the Atlantic Sun in his 2+ seasons, as we take a look at the Eagles starting lineup. Reed Baker, their leading scorer at 12.6 points per game. Reggie Chambers, Kyle Marks, Derek O'Neal, and Anthony Banks. Florida Gulf Coast at 5-8 on the season. They are 2-2 in the Atlantic Sun. This is their first conference home game, and Sonny, they've only played 3 home games altogether.
Yeah, and I tell you what, that's very difficult to win the games that they've won and be able to go on the road. 10 out of 12 on the road is not a recipe for winning, man.
Jeff Smith, Freddie Williams, Carlos Gonzalez, our officials for tonight's ball game. North Florida in their road blues, open on offense, and Florida Gulf Coast in their home white on defense.
Man-for-man defense, very physical, right in your face defense.
That's Hagebrook on the dribble. We talked about him off the top, and he's played very well. First two games, or last two games, I should say, as they go inside to Sowie, and he had it knocked away. It will be the Ospreys ball with 15 seconds left on the shot clock.
They're very patient. They look for what the defense is going to give them. They're not going to force a lot of things, and that's a credit to better play.
Granberry with 7 on the shot clock. And Hagebrook takes the first shot of the ball game and hits a 2. Foot was inside the arc, and Hagebrook out of Newark, New Jersey, and St. Patrick's, played at Hillsborough, Florida Community College before he got here, gives the Ospreys the early lead.
You can tell that they're going to attack inside. Florida Gulf Coast looking to go in immediately.
There's Reed. Reed, the young man from Naples, Florida, but started his college career at Michigan before transferring back to the Sunshine State. Alley-oop and rolled off the rim, but there for the putback is O'Neal.
A set play, back pick on the offside. Wide open for the dunk, but Derek O'Neal has to clean it up and knock it down.
2-2 ball game. Janeska goes inside to Sowie.
The ball movement and the spacing is very good by the Ospreys right now.
Hagebrook nearly lost the dribble. Janeska for 3.
Well, that's what he does best. He does not get off to a good start, but he is a capable three-point shooter.
Chambers called for traveling. Here's a look at your first 2 baskets. First of all, Hagebrook from just inside the arc.
Did it all on his own. Did not receive a screen. Clock running down. He knocks it down. Here is the lob for this play and a rebound by Derek O'Neal.
Granberry looking inside. You can see they want to play inside out.
Yeah, they're trying to attack in. Both teams are trying to make the inside out goal. Sowie is doing a good job of posting inside, but the defense is excellent by Kyle Marks.
Janeska lost it. Baker ties him up. Jump ball, and the possession arrow pointing in favor of the Eagles.
Both teams real patient to start with. I think we're going to see a little bit more up-tempo as they get into the game.
Florida Gulf Coast at 5-8 overall, 2-1 here at home. As Sonny told you, had a big victory over DePaul in this building. Won on the road at Belmont 2 games ago, coming off an 89-79 loss at Lipscomb on Monday. But they have won 5 out of 7 since their 0-6 start.
Set play by Florida Gulf Coast, running the shuffle.
Marks at the foul line.
One of the most athletic players in the A-Sun, Kyle Marks.
Transfer from Nebraska. One of 2 Division I transfers on this Eagles ball club. The entry pass trying to get the ball to Diaz down on the low block, and it was kicked away by the Eagles.
Hagebrook is very, very quick. Very good on the first step, quickness, and getting to the goal.
And the turnover by the Ospreys.
Both teams trying to feel one another out right now, Matt. And man-for-man defense by both, and it's very physical, in-your-face type defense right now.
Still a 2-2 ball game. Hagebrook with the 2 for the Ospreys, and O'Neal with the 2 for the Eagles.
They're picking on the ball and then screening for the screener to get him free. And there's another example of it right there.
Kyle Marks put it on the floor and then kicked it out of bounds.
A little full court pressure by Florida Gulf Coast.
Sowie got the basket. Offensive foul. They'll wave it off.
That was the next. Excellent defense, but a very solid move. And the defense gets there, look maybe a little bit late, but he does get the body in there.
Chad Lukenhouse checks into the ball game for the first time for the Eagles.
The Eagles are running a lot of different sets. 1-4 low, 1-4 high, out of a box, and running different plays each time down.
Inside they go to Banks. Anthony Banks rimmed out, tried to get his offensive rebound, lost it off his fingertips.
He showed a great offensive move there and excellent quickness on the inside as a post player. Redshirt freshman.
Lukenhouse scoops it ahead to O'Neal, and O'Neal got fouled hard on the jam attempt by Sowie.
Sometimes I think players get caught up in dunking the ball, Matt, way too much. That was a play that he could have put down and ended up with a three-point shot had he just laid it in off the glass. I love the dunk. Fans love the dunk, but
he got him a basket. Yeah, he had to slow down a little bit of a stutter step in there to get the dunk, and had he gone up just with a layup, he would not have had to stutter step, probably would not have gotten fouled on the play. But O'Neal at the line for the Eagles.
The dunk and the three-point shot is way too popular right now, in my opinion.
O'Neal, a
poor free throw shooter, but sure doesn't look like that.
Well, 46% at the free throw line for an Eagles team that shoots 64.5% collectively.
You look at the way he shoots the ball, and it looks very, very good. So that's got to be a mental thing with him, not a physical thing.
Hagebrook brings it up the floor for the Ospreys. Florida Gulf Coast with the early 1-point lead.
Hagebrook is a very confident player. I've been impressed in just a little play that we've had. He shows that he is a leader.
Well, started out slowly, as we talked about off the top. Junior college transfers. Janeska knocks down the three-pointer that shoots the Ospreys into a 2-point lead.
Well, he's one of the better three-point shooters in this league. He's also an excellent rebounder. He's not that big, but he's a very good rebounder.
Reggie Chambers on the dribble, lost the dribble, and Diaz kicked it out of bounds.
Excellent defense by North Florida. Anytime you pick on the ball, they're going to double the ball, and they showed it right there. And it ended up throwing the offense off, and they got the break that they needed on a turnover.
4 minutes and 47 seconds in, the Ospreys out to an early 2-point lead.
I can't see that, Matt, so you'll have to kind of keep me up.
No, it's the individual stats is that they're not
coming up late. I can see that.
Yeah, I mean, it says it's 2-0. In the team stats, I mean, come on. But the stats are right, but the score is not right. Okay, so the stats are right, it's just the score's not right. Is there a way we can get a Shannon? Do you know if there's a way you can get both of them, both boxes on the same screen? Do they have it? To have it where both teams are on the screen. Okay. Maybe it's game summary. No. Just underway here at the Alico Arena in Fort Myers, Florida. North Florida with a 5-3 lead on Florida Gulf Coast. Dave Balza leading his team for the 8th consecutive season. They started out Division II and making the transition to Division I. Banks fought hard to get his shot off. Lytle had his shot blocked, and a foul is going to be called on the Eagles.
I tell you, Banks looks good to me on the inside. He's undersized as a postman, but he has shown some excellent moves. Nothing to show for it right now, but he's a guy you got to watch. I think he's an excellent guy to have on the ball.
Charlie Lytle checked into the ball game during the timeout, a 6'8", 190-pound junior out of nearby Clearwater, Florida, and Santa Fe College up in the Gainesville area. North Florida 2-point lead as they bring the ball down the floor. North Florida has completed its transition to Division I, so they are eligible for the first time to play in the ASUN tournament. Lukenhouse takes it to the hole and banks it in.
Great move by Lukenhouse. Also, a little change up by defense by the Eagles. Played in a 2-3 zone. It's actually a 1-1-3, but that's basically a 2-3 after the first pass.
Granberry drives and forced it. Offensive foul called on Granberry. That'll be the first foul on him.
There you can see the steal and the throw ahead, and Lukenhouse takes it to the basket and a great layup.
Third team foul called on the Ospreys.
Well, and 2 of those are charging fouls.
Yep.
You know, that's amazing that you get those things. They're difficult to do. So that shows a lot of coaching there.
Reed inside the arc, knocks down the jumper. 2-point lead for the Eagles.
That's a good thing right there, because he's a streak player. If he gets on a streak, he can certainly knock down the 3 ball.
Janeska off the iron. Lukenhouse the long rebound. Yeah, Reed has shot the ball well the first 7 games. Given those stats, he still is shooting only 33% from the floor. Banks.
Well, I can see one thing right now. The scouting report says Anthony Banks get the ball. 2 guys are going to guard him. Let's take a look at the slide away by Reed, and he knocks that thing down. Reed Baker, an excellent outside shooter.
Yeah, the stats don't show it, but
we know it, though. We've seen it.
Well, he got off to such a horrible start shooting the ball early in the season. In fact, both he and Chambers, and it's Balza says about the Florida International game, Chambers and Reed started to knock down the shot, and that's when the Eagles started to play better, and as a result, they've won 5 of their last 7.
Well, you know, this is a team that's deep. This is a team that's got a lot of players, so he's not going to get the high number of shots that he may have got in the past.
Suka kick out. Janeska driving, looking for a seam in the defense, and nearly threw it away. Suka, shot rejected by Kyle Banks, who was one of the top shot blockers in the Atlantic Sun a year ago, and knocked that one right back out of bounds.
Tremendous leaping ability. A lot of people after that ball, I can tell you that right now.
Banks, much like Reed Baker, from the state of Florida, but decided to play basketball outside the state. Originally signed with Nebraska. He's out of West Palm Beach and ended up coming back to the state of Florida to play for the Eagles.
I'd like to see what Kyle might have been had those knee surgeries not slowed him down so much, because he is certainly a beautiful athlete. He does good things.
Well, Dave Balza says he's much more comfortable playing in the 5 spot.
I tell you what, they're calling it a little close on 2 teams that are really going to get after one another. So we're going to see the foul deal go up a little bit here.
So 5 team fouls now on the Ospreys. Only 1 has been called on the Eagles.
Yeah, I think he could have passed on that last one. Here I am refereeing already.
Marks puts it on the floor. Back around to Lytle. He was a 40% 3-point shooter at Santa Fe and just really has not gotten going so far this season.
Well, the size puts him in a position where he's got to play down and under a little bit more than usual. That's difficult to be able to shoot threes out there.
And the foul is going to be called on Eddie Murray, or Suka, I'm sorry, the other 23. It was called on the Ospreys, and that's the 16th foul. And it comes with 7.5 minutes gone. So 1 more foul will put the Eagles in the bonus for the rest of the half.
Well, there's no question what they're trying to do. They're trying to be real physical with the inside people. And consequently, it's ended up with some foul trouble.
Janeska launching the 3. And the rebound, last touch by the Eagles, apparently. So the Ospreys will get the ball underneath.
Janeska's such an outstanding three-point shooter, is not off to a good start tonight. He is capable of hitting threes in bunches. Only hit one tonight. He's not shooting as well as he did a year ago from the three-point line. He shoot 39 is pretty good though when you think about it.
Inside, the pass was knocked out of bounds again by the Eagles. Hagebrook gets it inbounds. Up top to Sparks, and Inisuka launches a long three and hits it.
Well, Inisuka can do that. He doesn't put it on the floor a lot because he's looking to go to three, but that guy can knock him down.
Ospreys now 2 out of 3 on their three-point attempts. Chambers hit it, but after the whistle.
Suka is an excellent three-point. Just slides away. Defense on the help side did not have time to rotate up. Eni knocks it down.
Out of Cypress Bay High School in Fort Lauderdale. In fact, he and Janeska both out of the same high schools, but both of them also went to other Division I schools before they ended up at UNF. Janeska was at Morehead State and Suka was at Florida Atlantic.
And I think this has been a good place for both of them. Both the transfer was a good thing.
Ball on the deck. Suka kept it alive, and finally a great play by Diaz. Just threw it up in the air and let his point guard Hagebrook run under it.
We hadn't heard the name Diaz tonight. He's a guy they need to get involved because he is a guy that's been playing extremely well for them. Very physical.
Well, he's their leading scorer and leading rebounder. 9.7 points, 4.1 rebounds, and those are not big numbers. They do not have one player averaging in double figures in scoring. Grothaus on a nice feed by
none other than
Jermaine Sparks.
Right.
Sparks has played a big role the last couple of years now this season coming off the bench.
Yeah, was a starter a year ago. That shows there's a little bit of difference in his ball club. There's certainly a difference in the way they're moving the basketball and sharing it.
Ospreys with a 3-point lead.
They space the floor real well. They got an excellent handler and passer out front. Their offense looks steady to me, but we get a little push there.
Foul's going to be called on Reggie Chambers. That's going to be the first on him. 10 minutes and 40 seconds to play in the opening half, and the Ospreys off to a 3-point lead. That's your home court advantage. Tonight's game is brought to you by General Shell Brick, building the American dream. You're watching Atlantic basketball on CSS, your home court advantage. Tonight's game is brought to you by General Shell Brick, building the American dream. Russell Brand's proud partner of the Atlantic Sun Conference. And by Verizon Wireless, the nation's most reliable and largest wireless voice and data network. Back at the Alico Arena, where Florida Gulf Coast and UNF tipping off our ASUN game of the week. The Ospreys out to a 10-7 lead even though they've taken 2 less shots than Florida Gulf Coast so far in this ball game.
Florida Gulf Coast is not shooting the ball very well. That's because they can't get anything inside. They're doubling everything when it goes inside. When they come off screens, they're doubling the ball. They're doing a good job right now defensively. Florida Gulf Coast has got to make some changes.
Suka hits another 3, and the Ospreys have started 3 of 6 from behind the 3-point line. And they are a good 3-point shooting team, 38% for the season.
Yeah, they're second in shooting in 3-point in the A-Sun. Not overall, but in the A-Sun, they're second in the league in 3-point shots.
Sparks grabbed the rebound for UNF. You see North Florida off to a 5 of 10 start from the floor, while Florida Gulf Coast is 3 of 12.
That's because they can't get anything inside. They've been forcing it in, and they've been doubling up, doing a good job defensively. They've got to get something knocked down from the outside to open up the inside just a little bit.
10 on the shot clock. Suka thought about another long 3.
Both teams playing excellent defense.
Diaz inside, down to 4. He was traveling. Nope, 3-second violation is the call by Carlos Gonzalez.
Well, he did stay in there quite a while. It's Diaz was so open, and he was waving for the basketball, but they were unable to see him. The defense has been really good here.
6-point lead for UNF. The Ospreys, a 4-year transition, as every team has to do when they move from Division II to Division I. You have to wait through 4 complete seasons before, in the 5th season, you're eligible for the NCAA tournament. Also, you're eligible for your conference tournament. If you're not eligible for the NCAA tournament, you can't compete in your conference tournament for fear that, what if you won it, then they would not have a representative in the big dance. So this year they are finally eligible, and they're excited about that.
Well, it's going to create excitement, because the first thing it's going to do is it's going to improve recruiting and scheduling.
Ball on the deck. O'Neal got it. Bounce pass inside, and a foul is going to be called on UNF.
Well, he saved a basket. A hard foul to keep him from shooting the basket. And that's something that coaches will teach. Don't give him a layup. And that way, I guarantee you're not going to get a layup with that body slam right there.
So Anthony Banks is at the line. Anthony Banks actually putting on the Eagles uniform a year later than they had anticipated. Last year he broke his foot just planting and trying to shift on defense during their exhibition game and was lost for the season. But he has been a big boost to this Florida Gulf Coast team.
He's a double-double threat each night out. He really is, even though that hasn't happened for him yet. But he is a double-double threat, that's for sure.
He's averaging 11.8 points per game, 5.8 rebounds, which leads the ball club, and he is shooting a team best 55% from the floor.
Referees are conferring about what, I don't know, unless it would be who the foul was on. I think they got that straightened out there.
Dave Balza said, you know, he's kind of envious of UNF because they now get to compete in that conference tournament. Florida Gulf Coast still has 2 more years, this season and next season, to complete in their transition. Diaz, offensive foul.
Might have got away with a little bit of travel there, but I tell you what, he did get his feet under him and lay the ball in the basket.
And not an offensive foul. They called a blocking foul. Instead, he definitely traveled, and the foul was called on Reed Baker.
Yeah.
And UNF did get a good break because he definitely shuffled his feet, did a little stutter step before he ran into Baker. So Diaz is at the free throw line.
Diaz made an excellent move to the basket. I do believe the call was correct on the block.
So a 6-point lead remains for the Ospreys after Diaz failed to get the free throw. Reed Baker knocks down the mid-range baseline jumper.
Well, that was a 2, but I tell you, that guy can knock him down if he gets it going.
And they fouled Suka on the 3-point attempt. So Derek O'Neal committed the cardinal sin. You don't foul a jump shooter, and that's exactly what they did as you take a look at the jumper there by Reed.
And what you saw was Reed Baker is such a good 3-point shooter. He did a little pump fake, got the guy up in the air, and went around him and shot a 2. Good job by Reed Baker. Very good.
Suka, 9 of 15 at the free throw line this season prior to that free throw right there that gave the Ospreys a 5-point lead.
This guy is such a good 3-point shooter, and his percentage doesn't show it, but he's been a good 3-point shooter forever, and I'm always wondering why 3-point shooters are not better free throw shooters. he is not a great free throw shooter, only shooting 60%.
Well, he doesn't get to the line very often.
Three-point shooters very rarely do. They're always looking to throw up the outside shot. Don't get much penetration out of them unless they're forced into it, as we saw Reed Baker was forced into a two-point shot a few minutes ago.
Well, the Ospreys have now built a game-high 7-point lead here on the home floor of Florida Gulf Coast, playing their first conference road game of the season.
Reggie Chambers got to get involved in this game a little bit more.
And Rolax with the ball back to the basket. Waits on a double team, trying to work out of a double team. He's in trouble. The ball was tipped, but controlled by the Eagles. Lytle. Offensive foul.
I'll tell you what, we've seen more people drawing charges, more offensive fouls than we're going to see in most games, and that is something.
Well, we've already had 3 of them called here in the first 12 minutes of this game, and possibly could have had another call on the previous possession.
All right, looks like a 1-3-1 zone. Looks like a high 1-3-1 zone. Falls back into possible man for man. No, it's a zone. They're good, trying to do a job of disguising defenses right now. One thing that the Ospreys have impressed me, Matt, they do not take bad shots.
There's a good one right there.
Granberry.
Reed Baker answers on the other end with the 2.
That's a very smart thing to do, to come back down and go to Reed Baker quickly, because he just finished the basket. He's a streak shooter. Get him the basketball and he'll knock him down.
Will Wilson in there running the point right now, while Hagebrook takes a rest. Janeska whips it around. They go down in the low block. Roadhouse got tied up. Jump ball, and the possession arrow pointing in favor of the Ospreys.
Kind of a forced pass inside then, man.
Timeout with 7 minutes and 13 seconds to left in the first half. It's North Florida with an 8-point lead. Get all your ASUN news, statistics, and championship information at AtlanticSun.org. It's the official internet home of the Atlantic Sun. You're watching our first installment of the ASUN Game of the Week. North Florida out to a 21-13 lead on Florida Gulf Coast. And Sonny, the Ospreys have outshot the Eagles 53% to 33%. Hit 2 more shots, and they've out-rebounded them 10-8. And the biggest difference comes at the three-point line, where the Ospreys have knocked down 4 of 7, and the Eagles are 0 of 3.
That's right. And the Eagles are trying to attack inside, unable to get that. Now Reed Baker's starting to loosen things up by making 2-3 outside baskets. So maybe we'll see a little bit more inside play now.
Hagebrook got his own rebound.
Second shots really will kill you. And a good second shot by Hagebrook.
Ospreys reset the offense.
Very patient in their offense. Look like you're playing a zone. They showed man-for-man play zone. Another outside shot.
Janeska knocks down the three-pointer. That is the 5th three-pointer for the Ospreys in this ball game, and Janeska now has 6 points. And the Ospreys have an 11-point lead here on the Eagles' home floor.
They're playing excellent defense. They have great pressure on the basketball right now, not only with the hands but with the feet also.
Lytle trapped underneath the basket, had to get it out of there.
Somebody's got to knock something down outside because they're taking away the inside game.
And Reed Baker called for the offensive foul.
You're going to see the reversal of the basketball, what it will get you. Quick reversal. San Januska knocks it down.
And back the other way, that was the offensive foul on Reed Baker,
which I did not see.
Janeska.
Ball reversal's excellent, man.
Well, that was a concern for the Eagles. They run a 1-3-1 extended zone to try to prevent that. They're not in that right now, but that was a big concern for them, is the ball reversal here against the Ospreys tonight.
Well, they showed it then. They were playing man when it came down, but they jumped into the 1-3-1. And the 1-3-1 is a high and wide 1-3-1 to keep you from reversing a basketball. And they're trying to disguise most of their defenses right now. Look at the double on the ball and under the basket.
Wow. Marks went right through the defense and then finished with a big flush at the end of it.
One of the best athletes in this league, and he just showed it right there. Ooh, we got a blocking foul on a high pick. But you're going to see a double up. You're going to see a guy split the double up with pure strength and knock the bucket down. Here, look at this. Great defense, but he splits it. Down he goes again. Kyle Marks.
6'7", 230 senior. The foul called on the Ospreys. So now Florida Gulf Coast a chance to cut into that 9-point disadvantage. Rolex too far underneath the basket, shot it right off the bottom of the backboard. Jump ball is called, and the possession arrow is pointing in favor of North Florida. So the Eagles unable to take advantage of the basket by Marks and then the turnover, and they'll go back down the floor after an empty possession.
They're unable because of tremendous post defense. Every time the ball goes anywhere near the post, Matt, there's a double up that takes place. And when it's a good double up, it really changes things. This is a high 1-3-1 to keep the ball reversal, but there's a guy that's going to be very difficult to keep him reversing the basketball. Ben Hagerbrook is very quick off the dribble.
Granberry. And the rebound controlled by Marks. Nice release to Lukenhaus. And Rolex with a nice athletic move cuts the lead to 7.
Flip the defense. Excellent job. That was a wild pass by Stan Janeska.
Long cross the court pass to Janeska.
I think they have found that they let Stan Janeska catch it with his feet set, he's going to knock it down. The defense has improved on him.
Foul's going to be called on Florida Gulf Coast.
You're going to see a guy split the defense right here. Rolex, and that is really a nice job by Rolex.
Rolex goes to the bench. Foul was called on Reed Baker, and that was his second. So
there's a guy that doesn't need to be in foul trouble here in the first half because he's a guy that can spread. He can spread that defense a little bit and open up something down on the inside.
Andy Diaz, only a 44% free throw shooter.
And he's another guy, when he shoots a free throw, you don't see a lot of things mechanically wrong with it. He may had a little bit too much guide hand on it, but that was a good-looking free throw by Andy Diaz. A guy, if he can improve that, he would be a double-figure scorer most nights out.
8-point lead after he misses the second of the free throws, and Reed Baker sprints down the floor for Florida Gulf Coast.
Man-for-man defense as they change defense. The ball goes inside. You put it down on the floor. The double-up is coming. Wild pass by the Eagles. Kyle Marks off the mark on the pass.
8-point lead for the Ospreys. They've led by as much as 11 in this ballgame. Ospreys became just the second ASUN team in the history of the conference to win a 3-game regular season conference tournament when they won the Southern Miss Christmas Classic down on the Gulf shores of Mississippi at the end of December.
Nothing there.
Hunter Miller came up short. He's another guy that they brought in, thought he was going to be a really good shooter, just has not put it together yet. And a foul will be called on the Ospreys.
Diaz.
And this one's going to be on Diaz.
Diaz a little bit physical in the post play. Boy, what nice post moves he has.
3:30 to play in the opening half. North Florida with a 8-point lead. No stats. I mean,
yeah, I know.
It's just, how are you supposed to do a game?
I try to not say anything because I'm afraid I'll say too many fouls or not enough fouls.
I mean, it's like, come on.
Boy, I tell you, when Brad Hoggebrook and Chambers get after one another, you watch it. They really get after
Janeska. Suka again.
Janeska there, wasn't it?
Yeah. This is Granberry.
Granberry. I like
and that'll
Granberry.
be Janeska. Janeska, the two of them.
I like Granberry.
They're 5 of 9 on their threes.
And none of them have been forced threes or shots off the dribble. It's because of ball reversal. They got great ball reversal, if you want to talk on that one. And spacing, that's got some. Spacing is a widely too much used phrase, but it does make a difference since its three-point shooting is such a big factor.
North Florida with an 8-point lead on Florida Gulf Coast. Sunny mainly because they've knocked down 5 of their first 9 3-point attempts.
And none of those have been forced shots. You just saw feet set, knocking down the 3. Feet set, knocking down. That's Suka doing the job right there. Feet set. Janeska knocking them down from the outside. Feet set. Granberry knocking them down from the outside. There was not a bad 3 in any of those shots taken right there, man.
Suka 2 of 2 behind the arc. Janeska 2 of 5. Granberry 1 of 2. Meantime, the Eagles 0 of 3 from behind the 3-point line so far in this ball game. They had this happen to them in their last ball game, their 89-79 loss at Lipscomb, which the Bisons hit 15 3-pointers on them, and the Eagles lost despite the fact they opened the game by hitting 17 of their first 20 shots, and they outscored the Bisons 40-18 in the paint, but Lipscomb beat them on the arc.
Well, one thing is keeping them from scoring on the outside is the defense on the inside. They will not let them pass or shoot.
Reggie Chambers missed the 3 that time.
It's really been the defense that the Ospreys are playing is really effective. They got great pressure on the basketball. They'll double team all drives. They'll double team anytime they screen on the basketball. So it's very effective.
Well, the Ospreys are really getting after it on defense.
They really are.
And that's one thing that Matthew Driscoll has been preaching to them. He said he took a chart of all the conference champions from last season and the spin move in the basket by O'Neal, and he showed his team that every conference champion in the entire nation was at least in the top 3 of their conference in defense. He said you got to guard and you got to rebound if you want to compete for championship.
Great point. Well, rebounding is a key. And if you get great defense with rebounding, you really got something special.
Pass to Suka, or rather pass from Suka was a bad one, but picking it up was June, and he got it to Grotehouse.
Grotehouse knocks it down. Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Hunter Miller out of control, and the rebound is pulled down by June. David June started out in the starting lineup for the Ospreys.
He's a big physical freshman from Okeechobee High School. He's really physical.
Hoggebrook was called for the turnover right there.
I can see why he's looking well-built also as he goes by this year.
Well, 6'6", 210 freshman, and he was in the starting lineup, and then ultimately they decided it was a little bit better.
I think it's probably a chemistry factor. The people that work the best with one another as far as moving the basketball.
8-point lead for North Florida. 8-point lead for North Florida with 1:51 to play here in the first half.
You got two guys really going after it at the point right now. Brad Hagelbrook and Reggie Chambers. That's two guys you really want to watch play. They're great to watch those guys.
And timeout called as Grothaus was down on the floor. So Driscoll calls for the timeout. His team leading by 8 with 1 minute and 35 seconds to play here in the first half.
Matt, you see more and more of this. Anytime the ball hits the floor and so two guys are going at it, the coach is quickest to call the timeout ends up with the ball.
The 2010 General Shell Brick Atlantic Sun Basketball Championships take place March 6th. Make that March 3rd through the 6th at the University Center on the campus of Mercer University.